Hey there! Welcome to the Distracted Librarians podcast. We're your friendly neighborhood bookworms with a penchant for all things pop culture.
Picture this as our digital campfire, where we dive into our latest obsessions, analyze our favorite distractions, and rediscover the joy of reading.
Whether you're a media enthusiast, a book lover, or just need a break from the daily grind, you've come to the right spot.
So kick back, relax, and get delightfully distracted with us.
Hey everybody! Today we are going to talk about the Youth Media Awards and other awards that are given for books. Woo! Yeah. So we are doing this episode specifically because the Youth Media Awards will be coming out, and that is something that's done by the American Library Association, where they announce the top books, digital media, video, and audiobooks for children and young adults, which also include the well-known awards like the Newbery and the Caldecott. Mm-hmm. So these are specifically of interest to us because we have to know this.
They're also selected by committees of primarily librarians, if not entirely librarians. Mm-hmm. I don't fully recall, but
librarians and authors, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of our colleagues around the country making these decisions.
Yeah, definitely. So it's important to kind of explain what these awards are for because I think there's confusion about that sometimes. I know I didn't understand the difference between the Newbery and the Caldecott for a very long time, but it's my job now to know these things. So
I'm very excited to hear what you have to say because I'm not sure I still know.
Okay. All right. Well, so the Newbery Medal is for the most outstanding contribution to children's literature. That's a pretty big award. At least it sounds like a big award.
So does that feel like the one as youth librarians if you had to pick one? Or
it's really between the two, I think. But it depends on what you're looking for, right? So in terms of the Caldecott, so they just have different purposes.
Yeah. So. The Newbery is very focused on the book. Mm-hmm. And when they list winners for that, you get author. If there is also an illustrator, it's listed author, illustrator.
Okay.
The Caldecott is for primarily the illustrations. It is the most distinguished American picture book, but it is, when the award is given, it is listed as illustrator, author.
Yes.
The illustrations play a big role in that decision.
Yeah. So one of the winners of the Newbery Medal as of 2024 was The Eyes of the Impossible, written by Dave Eggers. And that's a pretty cool book. I haven't read it, but I understand the premise a little bit, and it's kind of written in the perspective of a dog, which I think is kind of fun and cool.
Yeah, I've read a little bit of Dave Eggers in his adult side.
Oh, okay.
He's very this surrealist type author.
Sure.
So I can see that being interesting. his perspective of.
Totally.
So with the Caldecott, like I said, that kind of focuses more on the illustration of it, which is really interesting to me because the 2024 winner, I love for the book.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
The illustrations are great, but the book was really important to me. And that winner was Big, which was illustrated and written by Vashti Harrison. And I don't know a ton of the Caldecott winners. They don't stick in my brain the way Newbery winners tend to. I think because Newbery tends to get more attention because it's for the writing and it's for the book as a whole. But when Big came out, I read it before it was announced as the Caldecott winner. I was like, oh, this is really great. So I was really excited to see it win.
Yeah, totally. I know a lot of staff members were excited when that came through as being the winner.
Yeah.
For sure.
And what's the premise of But Big?
Put me on the spot here.
I have the synopsis. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it says, the emotional exploration of being big in a world that prizes small is a tender portrayal of how you can stand out and feel invisible at the same time. And it's about this beautiful little girl. And it's very, very sweet. It kind of gives you all the feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a much better synopsis than I could have come up with on the spot. So,
Oh, and technically, I have the synopsis for The Eyes and the Impossible, too. It's a story of a dog who unwittingly becomes a hero to a park full of animals. He is a stray dog, lives in an urban park by the sea, and his job is to be the eyes to see everything that happens within the park and report back to the park's elders, which are 3 ancient bison. So, I kind of
love
like
it.
what you were saying. Like, it's pretty surreal.
Yep.
It's a bit weird. I like it. Yeah. Okay. So, what other awards do we have, Killian?
the one that I'm going to actually talk about first, because it is the YA version of the Newbery or Caldecott or anything, is the Printz Award. That is an award for excellence in literature written for young adults or teenagers. And this year, actually, a collection of short stories won that, which I thought was fascinating. You don't really hear a lot about short story collections, either in youth or in teen books all the time. I don't know if it's more common in adult books or anything like that, but The Collector's Stories was edited by A.S. King, and it has stories by a bunch of really big name YA authors. Jason Reynolds, M.T. Anderson, David Levithan, and so many more that have written really great books. So I need to go read that one now.
Nice. And then the Coretta Scott King Awards, that is an award that recognizes African-American author and illustrator of outstanding books for children and young adults also. The winner in 2024 was Nigeria Jones, written by Ibi Zeboy. That was the author book winner. And then the illustrator book winner was An American Story, which was illustrated by Dare Coulter. So those are definitely some books to check out from last year's. And we are really looking forward to kind of seeing what's going to take those awards this year, this coming year. Another, a lesser-known award is the Schneider Family Book Award, and that is for books that embody an artistic expression of the disability experience, which I think is really important to kind of have an award for that specifically. And that the title that won last year is Henry Like Always, and that was written by Jen Bailey. Yeah.
One of the ones that I'm always looking for is the Stonewall Book Award, which highlights books that relate to the gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender experience. Hits home a little personally, and it's also, those are books that a lot of kids are looking for as they figure out their own life and their own individual experience.
Yeah.
And so last year's winners were Cross My Heart and Never Lie by Nora Dasnes for children's, and then Only This Beautiful Moment by Abdi Nazamian for teen.
Yep, I've been following the Stonewall awards a lot more in the last couple of years since they've split out the children and young adult books, which I think is fantastic if it's getting enough recommendations to merit 2 separate awards and to be able to name more books as finalists in the process.
Definitely.
Really cool to see.
Yeah, for sure.
There's also a bunch of awards. We can't touch on all of them here, but you get awards for audiobooks, awards. There's awards for a bunch of different identities, not just African American or LGBT or disability. There's a bunch of different identity-based awards that come out, some every year, some every other year. And we always get like the stickers for those and put those on the books. If you ever have questions about what any of those are, we're happy to share those. We just can't put them all in the podcast because of time.
Yeah, definitely. There's even an award for that crossover that we talk about from time to time, which is, it's an adult book, but teens really seem to like it. So there's an award for that. All right, what are some of the awards for adult books?
Yeah.
One of the biggest is, well, maybe the biggest is
think so.
National Book Award. Started in 1950 and was presided over by Eleanor Roosevelt. Most recent winner was Blackouts by Justin Torres.
Very good.
You read it?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
I don't remember anything about it.
I remember looking at it and it seemed like sort of an experimental
Yeah.
format. Is that accurate? Okay, cool. I read his previous book, which was, do you remember?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to try and remember it while I talk. But it can be for fiction, nonfiction, poetry, YA lit. One of my favorite National Book Award was Just Kids by Patti Smith. That book had a huge effect on me.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to move to New York and live in Greenwich Village, but in the 1970s. So I guess that time has passed.
Yeah. It might be hard to do right now, but yeah.
But very, very nostalgic and gorgeous. And yes, the Justin Torres was We Are the Animals.
Okay.
Or We the Animals, which was a story about him and his brothers sort of having a raucous childhood together, a house full of boys,
Nice.
and their relationship to their mother who had mental illness. So he's a great writer. I really enjoyed that one too. So the finalists for 2024 for the National Book Award: Grassroots by Pemi Aguda, Martyr by Kava Akbar, James by Percival Everett, All Fours by Miranda July, and My Friends by Hisham Matar. I'm gonna just
We're doing our absolute best.
butcher
Yeah.
all of those, but I think if it's something that is a finalist or shortlisted for any of these, you're gonna have a good book on your hands. So as a librarian, it's important for me to take a look at these to say, okay, make sure we have these in the collection. Maybe it's something I want to recommend for someone or read myself.
Cool.
Another really popular one is the Booker Prize. It's been around since the 60s. It started in the UK. At first, it was only books that were written in English and published in the UK and Ireland. It has since expanded for a second international prize of books that were translated and sold in the UK.
Oh, okay.
That's only been in the last 20 years or so.
Okay.
The most recent winner was called Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. I cannot claim to know that one, but I did read the 2022 winner. That was the 7 Moons of Mali Almeida by Shehan Karinatalaka. It was phenomenal. It is a war photographer who uncovers this massive thing that he's realized, and in the midst of trying to release the story, he is killed. And in the culture that it's being written in, I think it's Sri Lankan, but don't quote me on that, he has 7 days in the afterlife to process his life and before he's ready to move on. So he is spending these 7 days frantically trying to reach back to the world to share his findings beforehand.
Whoa.
It is really, really cool. Really intricate. I had a great time with it.
That sounds
good.
really epic.
Another one for adult is the Women's Prize for Fiction, also based in the UK. It's like the Booker Prize, but it's awarded to books written in English and published in the UK. Most recent winner was Brotherless Night by Vivi Ganeshananthan. Oh my, the pronunciations. And we don't know what the next one for 2025 is going to be, but they will be coming out shortly.
And much like what Killian was talking about, there are awards for literally everything. Every genre, every identity, every format of book, you can find an award for. Some of the ones that we as librarians tend to follow more are the Edgar Prize for mystery books, the Hugo Award for science fiction, the Bram Stoker for horror.
Yeah.
Yes. All of which put out fantastic books. I remember for the Hugo Award, the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. Phenomenal book, and I think the only full trilogy that's ever won for all 3 books.
Oh, wow.
Just 3 years in a row
Yeah.
she took it.
Oh my goodness.
And she should have taken it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
In addition to these kind of big national awards or international awards, a lot of different states also do their own statewide awards, not necessarily for all ages, but I think it's fun to know that those are out there. Nicole and I have both been on committees for some of the Michigan State awards. We've both been on UPER, which is
Yes.
middle grade fiction.
Yes.
Nicole much more recently than me. And even before I was on UPER, I was on the Thumbs Up committee for a year or two, which is teen books. So that's always a wild experience because you're trying to read so many things. And especially with teen and middle grade, it's impossible to read all of the books that come in
Yeah.
as possibilities. So,
But I think it has been, being on the UPER work committee has been such a great way, because it motivates me to like really read a lot of books that would not usually be in my wheelhouse of interest at all. And so I feel like my ability to recommend books to kids is like next level now, because I've read all of these books and I can say, oh, you want this one really bizarre thing? Well, this is the book for you.
Yeah.
So it's been really great. I enjoy it.
Amanda, you were on one of those committees too, right?
Yeah, for the Great Michigan Read. So that is something where, sponsored by Library of Michigan, they have a book that they select every year and will provide sponsorship, if you will, in the form of either sending libraries books for book clubs or programming. And that was a really fun experience because it was sort of like sitting in on everyone's book reviews. And just being able to hear why they think these books are awesome or not awesome. And for the Great Michigan Read specifically, the criteria is that it has to center on Michigan, the location,
Oh,
which
nice.
is really cool.
Oh, that is
so
cool.
it takes place in Michigan
Yeah.
for at least part of the book. Maybe you'll get some Michigan history in there a lot of the time, but just makes you appreciate the state for whatever reason through landscape or history. Of course, the Great Lakes are always present.
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, that's very fun. All right, well, let's dive into some of the previous award winners. Let's see. Did you guys have to read some of these when you were kids?
Yes.
Yes. So many Newbery winners are books that were assigned in school. For me personally, I remember reading Number of the Stars, Sarah Plain and Tall, Julie of the Wolves, Dear Mr. Henshaw, and Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry as books that I had to read for school. Also Bridge to Terabithia.
That
was
was
fifth grade.
one for me where the teacher read it aloud to us
Oh my God.
in class, and it was like, I just remember it being traumatizing.
That's
It's so
devastating.
sad. It's
En
such a sad
masse to do that
story.
like that?
Yeah. So, but also it's a great book. It was just when you're a kid and you're not expecting.
Sometimes that becomes your first exposure to anything like that,
Yes.
and that is a very bizarre experience to put someone into in a classroom.
Yeah.
Definitely. There was also The Island of Blue Dolphins was another one that was like read to me in school. Okay. So, but that one's not quite as traumatizing.
Oh, I love
as
the
Bridge to
Island of the
Terabithia.
Blue Dolphin.
Yeah.
That was really important
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
I think I had Bud Not Buddy.
Okay.
That got read to me that way.
Okay. Yeah. And like in terms of like I have realized, and I was just saying this a little bit earlier, but it's like I'm going through these list of award winners and realizing that I am woefully behind on reading a lot of these books. I mean, it seems like the ones that have come out more recently, I'm definitely aware of those. But when you start getting back, because Caldecott goes back to like
The 30s, I think.
Yeah.
it goes way, way back. And I wasn't alive until the 80s. So for me, a lot of that stuff is completely off my radar.
With the Caldecott, the two for me that I remember from my childhood both won well before I was born.
Okay.
It was Where the Wild Things Are and Snowy Day.
Oh, I love
are
those
just
books so
such
much.
staples of
Yeah.
school read-alouds and stuff.
Totally. Yeah, Snowy Day makes me so happy. When I do story time and it's wintry, that's my book. I got to read it. I don't know. There's something just so wonderful about him thinking he's going to take this snowball inside with him, and then it melts in his pocket. Another one, Kitten's First Full Moon. That's a Kevin Henkes book. That one is super cute, and I love that one too. It's all in black and white, and the kitten looks up at the moon and thinks it's a saucer of milk, and so he keeps jumping, trying to get to the saucer of milk. And then when he gets back to his house after a very frustrating, however long, there is a saucer of milk waiting for him, and it's very cute.
Will you put this book in my hands when we get back to the library?
Yes, I will. I will do that.
If you ever need a reminder that the Caldecott is for the illustrations in a book, one of my favorite winners was The Lion and the Mouse by Jerry Pinkney.
Oh,
and that
so
is
good.
a completely wordless picture book. It is just the fable of the mouse helping remove the thorn from the lion's paw. But the artwork is simply stunning. Totally understand why it would win an award for the art that's in it. So
Definitely. Another one that I love is A Sick Day for Amos McGee. That one is by Philip C. Stead. The story is so sweet. It's about a man who takes care of all of these animals at the zoo, and then he gets sick, and the animals come to him, and they take care of him. It's like...
Stop.
I swear, it's so sweet.
the
Anyway,
episode where Nicole accidentally breaks Drew with cute picture books.
We're in real time. That's happening.
And you know, these are our picture books, and they have like these really wonderful. I don't know. They have a message that's important. I think that's great. As for the Newbery winners, did you ever read The Girl Who Drank the Moon? No, you didn't read that one. It sounds like something you would really like.
I haven't read a lot of the more recent winners of the Newbery. The newer Newbery winners for me are just the reminder that like these awards are chosen by adults.
Yes.
So they're the things that adults think kids should be reading.
Yes.
And not necessarily always what kids are going to pick up for themselves and enjoy the most.
It's true.
And I think that's important to keep in mind because we do want to make sure kids are also reading things that they enjoy and want to read.
Definitely.
So there's a fine line to walk there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you are interested in any of these award winners, you can come to the library. We have collections where you can look at each one of them in chronological order. And they usually have these beautiful little golden seals on them so that you can distinguish that they're award winners. But definitely come to the library or go to your local library and check out some award winners. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Distracted Librarians.
Many thanks to BCTV for their support in recording, editing, and releasing this podcast, and to the Friends of the Library for sponsoring closed captioning on every episode.
If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us at distracted@btpl.org.
Until then, keep those pages turning and those screens lighting up. We'll catch you in the next episode.
The views and opinions expressed in the Distracted Librarians podcast do not necessarily reflect those of Bloomfield Township Public Library, Bloomfield Community Television, the Birmingham Area Cable Board, or its producers or production staff.